Let's talk to Rupert Bell, talks royal correspondent, because, as ever, Christmas is coming, the goose is getting fat, and we've all told Prince Andrew to stop, no, get down, shut up. Prince Andrew's been told not to show his face anywhere. Not at Sandringham, not at Balmoral, probably not even at Windsor, to be honest. He's been pictured on the front page of The Sun this morning. Andrew stuffed at Christmas with his head superimposed onto a turkey. He's about as welcome as a dose of the scabies at this point, I think. Rupert, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike. Well, at the moment, he is definitely persona non grata within the royal family, and he's only got himself to blame because it's his ability to find friends who seem to create trouble. Now, obviously, the latest one with this Chinese businessman who denies vehemently that he's a spy.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, any spy, a self-respecting spy, is going to do it. Most notably, remember what Kim Philby did in 1954, categorically said he wasn't the third man. And a few years later, it was found out that he was. Right. So what you've got here is, and what's even worse, he helped found his Picture Palace organisation, which reportedly any income that generated, Prince Andrew is supposed to have been able to charge 2% commission.
Yes.
So what you've got here is he needs to then be absolutely clear what this man has done and been involved with. And if he founded it and has helped Prince Andrew make money, then it's even worse look.
Well, exactly. It's very grubby, isn't it?
Well, this has probably been his problem throughout in recent years. Remember, obviously, his most notable, notorious, whatever you want to call it, friendship was with Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
So it's actually just par for the course. He just has an inability to choose his friends or business associates wisely because he's in desperate need of money. And
well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's always about money.
Yeah, because he's got to fund the Royal Lodge. He says his funds are fine and are all above board. The palace agree with that because it's very difficult to go snooping around other people's finances, even members of the royal family. But there is a question that if there is any hint that this guy, well, is obviously found guilty of being a spy, and then Prince Andrew's got something to answer for to say exactly what was his relationship with this guy. He said he didn't pass anything on, but actually they're very clever the way they operate. Yeah. It's basically sort of being sleepers and sort of opening doors and finding the right people for China to do business with that might actually be a benefit to them.
Clearly a lot of it's about introduction, isn't it? I mean, he didn't get to have his picture taken with David Cameron and Theresa May, both when they were Prime Minister, without probably knowing somebody who was reasonably influential who could get him into that space, and maybe that person was Prince Andrew.
Well, that we don't know, but what we are, so the way they operate is to try and get into the corridors of power. We've seen it with other instances in recent years with people within Parliament having association with Chinese people. So it is very difficult for Prince Andrew to sort of distance himself from this. So I have to say he is going to have a very lonely Christmas because obviously there was going to be a big gathering up there, but now he and his ex-wife will be holed up in the Royal Lodge, although I suppose they might go to their son-in-laws who that's where their daughters are going, so they might be able to go off to one of those. But in terms of being seen with the rest of the royal family, that is just not happening. They are probably rolling their eyes in bitter frustration once again with his choice of friends.
Yeah, absolutely right. And of course the other problem for Andrew is that he has supposedly, I think I'm right in saying, sort of acquired some money over recent times because he was due to move out, wasn't he, of Windsor Lodge, unless he could afford to sort of stump up some cash. He's obviously now got some cash because he's staying there. So questions are going to be asked about where he's got that from, won't there be?
Without question. And, you know, although it's hard to, you know, he's saying that it's money that is absolutely above board.
Yeah.
But
found it down the back of the sofa in bedroom number 9.
Well, there is just a perception problem. It was the same with the Virginia Giuffre scandal. You know, it was the perception that he just has an ability, as I say, to not find sensible friends who don't seem to ended up in hot water. But he's only got himself to blame. His arrogance, unfortunately, has led him to get into this situation, thinking he's absolutely right but actually he's been very much hoisted by his own petard.
He has indeed. And does he still have money to come from his mother, from the Queen? Did he get an inheritance, or is that sort of one of those things that comes every now and again?
I'm not sure of the finances. I'm sure he got some, but actually, when you've got a £3 million, I think, security bill alone just on Royal Lodge and then the upkeep, he needs a substantial amount of money to maintain his lifestyle, even though he's no more than a prisoner in his own house, because he can't go anywhere, because he's not, in the eyes of the public, he is definitely persona non grata.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of which, let's talk about Harry and Meghan. They've got a Christmas card out, which for the first time, I believe, shows their children, Archie 5, and of course, where's the other one?
Lilibet.
Lilibet, yes. Rather striking picture of Lilibet with her hair, the red hair, but you can't actually see their faces, which is fair enough.
Yeah, well, I don't. They are obviously very mindful of the privacy of their children, but it is a first indication. Where first time we've seen them playing happy families, and the other pictures are from their works throughout the year. So it's what the royal family do. They tend to send out personalised pictures. I personally can't stand getting things like that. But anyway,
no. Thankfully, I don't get very many Christmas cards. I'm quite happy about that.
I think it's the cost more than anything now that people are seriously thinking about it. But whether they should send us many Christmas cards. But I'm going off topic there. But in terms of this, it is an indication that there they are playing a united front from a family point of view and a professional point of view.
Yes. So we can prove that we can all get into the same picture without arguing with each other. I mean, it's not much of a very low bar, isn't it? And of course, the card was made available to everybody thanks to the very, very generous X account of one Omid Scobie, who we haven't heard from for a while.
Well, yes, he again has got himself into a bit of a pickle, but he is definitely seen as the mouthpiece for the Sussexes with the books that he's written. But obviously he has recently kept a distinctly low profile following the fallout from his latest book.
Yes, quite. And that didn't really go terribly well for him, did it? And what about this polo show? How's that going? Because I'm told that Netflix weren't that happy with it when it was finished. And people who have seen it, and I'm not one of them, have said it's absolutely tedious as all hell.
Well, I spoke to you about it before, I think, Mike. It's pretty tedious. I think it's underwhelming. I don't know the viewing figures, but I'm not getting... If it was doing brilliantly, I think the Sussexes would have been putting out PR to that effect.
Yes.
So the silence seems to suggest it's not gone down as well as perhaps they had hoped.
Yes, I'd like to use some kind of polo-related quip, but I'm not that familiar with the terminology, so I can't.
Well, perhaps you can chuck it in.
Yeah, very good. There you go. I can get that one. Thank you very much indeed. Rupert Bell there, talks royal correspondent from darkest Gloucestershire this morning.